Jaggers has recently released a blog post talking about the removal of certain daily challenges and activities to relieve daily pressure from logging into the video game. I want to talk about the ones I find the most impactful and also get your thoughts and feedback on it. I'm pretty happy about and pretty excited to see what these changes look like in the live game. And let's go ahead and go right into the blog post. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and let's get right into it. And I am genuinely really surprised. I'm not going to go through the entire blog post because it is pretty lengthy, but they're going to be revamping a lot of these things, and it's run by mmorpg, who's the lead developer for it, and he's fantastic. I got to meet him at RuneFest, and he was a fantastic joy to work with, and I have complete faith, and I like his vision for the game, and I'm not arguing with the changes that they're making here. However, I understand that the early game and the daily escape that is needed for the game is pretty rough. A daily escape becomes a chore list. Daily escape adds a time pressure when playing RuneScape, and the rewards from dailies are powerful and they can add up quickly. And a very good example for that is definitely with the Wilderness Flash events coming in with the Viswax machine, and these are very core items and core events in the game that level up a lot of people's accounts. I was recently playing an Iron Man account, and when I was playing it, a big part of my regular routine was going to my Wilderness Flash events, because these Flash events provided a lot of good items, a lot of early game XP, and it was just really easy. However, they were happening every single hour, and so like anything I was doing, I was in the middle of the quest, I was doing some kind of activity, I had to stop what I was doing and go to the Wilderness Flash event, because I knew, especially in this early game, I had to go and do it, because it was just the reward to time investment was just too good, right? And I also really liked Wilderness Flash events because it was something where you don't really have this in the game, where you have a ton of people going around the world bosses or like going into a big event and like participating in something together. That's what makes MMOs very special to me. That's why I love them so much. And I experienced that in other games, like in Final Fantasy XIV, when you go and do oddly enough their daily challenges and you're doing giant runs with other players, or in Guild Wars 2 when there's giant world events going on, you're interacting with people and you're just on an adventure and you're doing something together. It is very exciting. That's what makes the core gameplay of an MMO fun, and I really do think that RuneScape misses a lot of those things when it comes to like interacting and just naturally flowing people in together. But my thing is this, is that I really liked the Wilderness Flash events, mostly because they were just a giant social gathering. It was fun to see everybody doing things. It was always chaotic. I really loved it. Now, to address the big problems of Daily Escape becomes a chore list, Daily Escape is adding time pressure when playing RuneScape, and the rewards from dailies are just too powerful, they have elected to adjust a ton of these things, including Guthician Cash, which is fantastic. It's one of the best Divination XP methods in the game. And what they're going to be doing is, let me move out of the way here. What they're going to be doing is, essentially, they're going to be revamping it. So you're going to still be able to do your Guthician Cash, but it's going to be it will no longer be hourly, but instead, after depositing a number of memories or the currency that you use for divination, you can then open up the giant crater in the ground and go inside and do your divination cache, your Gothixian cache, which is fantastic. I think it's a really fun mini game. It's a great way to break up the monotony, but it is it was very powerful, and it provided way too much XP for the time investment that it provided, especially in a skill that is very slow, right? So when a skill is super slow, it can be pretty damning when you have to go and do an activity. So I'm glad they're making those kind of changes. They're changing how shops are, but they're just pretty much removing daily cap on them, and you can build up a store of cap over the next few days. I don't really care about this one too much. Never did shop runs myself, but these Soul Reaper changes are so good. So Soul Reaper assignments are pretty much when you go to the Reaper inside Death's office and you ask for a assignment to go kill some bosses. And I love this. And Soul Reaper will no longer have a daily cap. This is fantastic for the trim completionist cape hunters. This makes me excited because I'm over 200 mil XP, and I'm just happy that this is going to be something that people are going to be able to do. Because a lot of people don't like Slayer, but people love bossing, and people go and do bossing anyways or Slayer XP, so that's very exciting. It's going to be interesting to see if your Soul Reaper assignment will now count as a Reaper, as your Slayer assignment, because when you have a Slayer assignment for certain bosses, you get buffs towards those Slayer assignments, so it is going to be interesting if those Reaper assignments will now count as your Slayer task, and then those things can count towards that. I don't think so, but that would be interesting to see in general. They're going to be changing how the modified headwear is and stuff like that. They're going to be changing fish flingers. I really hope they make fish flingers a very exciting and pretty comparable XP training method. Mostly because like fish flingers is, I've never really done much of it, but any type of D&D that can become more rewarding and be better XP, like anything that can make mini games or those type of like break up the farming activities more fun and interactive, I'm all for. I'm all for, genuinely. Evil Tree, getting the same exact treatment. You're just going to be able to do them more often. Same thing with the Crystal Tree. The Red Sandstone and Crystal Sandstone, for those who don't know what this is, these are very important. They're needed for making crystal flasks, and you made it for making flasks, and also making the blessed flask, which is very, very important for all stages of PVM. Every single flask item is extremely important for getting high tier potions, getting better dosage of whatever potion you may need, as well as getting the blessed flask, which was previously locked behind, I believe, red sandstone. And red sandstone, you can only mine it like twice a day, like every single day, and you needed like to do it for like 2 months straight every single day to get enough red sandstone to be able to make the blessed flask. Now, not the fact that you're going to be able to do it every single day without having a cap, which is great. One of the greatest upgrades I've ever gotten for my PVM setup was getting the blessed flask, and the fact that you no longer have to do it while stuck behind a stupid little time gate is amazing. I'm very excited about that. So anybody that needs to go for your blessed flask, highly recommend go for it as soon as this update goes live. And I think it goes live, it'll show you at the end of the blog post, but I'm really happy about that. That is a fantastic change. All for those types of changes, because I think that's fantastic. It's really good for the game. Now, the Phoenix Lair, I'm not really sure what this one is, and I really paid attention to it. Bork was a very early game, Slayer assignment quest boss that I guess was reportedly killed. Not really sure too much about this one, but that's kind of neat. Free Essence is going to be changing. You can pick it up be on a weekly basis instead of daily. And now we're going to talk about the content being removed from the video game. Wow. Daily challenges are going. The last time dailies were changed, oh my god, it was a bloodbath. But it was a bloodbath mainly because people weren't getting their treasure hunter keys, the microtransaction slot machine that is no longer in the game. It ain't coming back. So, I think that the changes to daily challenges are going to be better. However, I have a little bit of bias, right? I have to speak with a clear conscience. I did daily challenges when I was going for 120, and it helped a lot when I was going for prayer. Helped a lot when I was going for agility. Those things were fantastic because I just slowly trained my skills doing those challenges anyways, because my challenge was to bury bones, and I always had bones in my bank. I buried 10, handed the challenges, easy day. Never really thought about it. But it is very easy to get that number of experience I was getting just by playing the game. Like, honestly, it would probably cost you the same amount of stuff, because I was burying dragonkin bones. Those things are like 43k each, and I was doing that for a daily challenge. So, but again, I gotta be truly transparent, and I know a lot of people are gonna have that same exact thought. I posted a video recently on if people should do fresh start servers, and that is a very common sentiment of like, hey, I feel like I'm getting a little left out because of these things here. But I think the overall consensus, though, from a lot of those comments was that, hey, it's okay, it's happened. You're gonna be behind anyways, because it's 10 years worth of content. That's like me playing WoW for the very first time and be like, dude, why is everybody ahead of me? Me never playing the game. Why is everybody ahead of me? Same exact thing. I think daily challenges being removed from the game is great because there's no pressure to log in. There's no keys you're getting in from there. That is stupid little battle pass that came with daily challenges. It's gonna be gone. I'm very excited. Daily challenges are the definition of daily escape. They've seen several changes over the years, such as tuning to become much quicker to complete and the addition of the weekly reward track. Although a lot of players find this as a fun routine to log in daily, they are one of the most prominent causes for login pressure, especially with the addition of the weekly reward track. Additionally, players can gain large chunks of XP per day with very little input through them, i.e. me, what I was doing for agility and what I was doing for prayer, leading to players skipping substantial portions of the game just from logging in daily. This impacts the economy, this impacts the player experience, and this impacts player knowledge. All three of those things are essential if you're going to be playing a game for as big as RuneScape. You know what I mean? You need to have an idea of how the game works, how it functions, how the world works, and I think that dailies removed a big chunk of that, and I'm glad they're getting rid of them. I'm really glad they're getting rid of them. I think that's a really smart move at the end of the day, and I'm happy about it. That is fantastic. So that's completely being removed with daily challenges. Fantabuloso. Now, this low-key broke my heart. Wilderness Flash events are getting the axe. Not for the reason you think that I'm about to say. A lot of people do the daily challenges mostly for experience. They do it because you get a lot of items. You do it because you get a lot of alchables. You do it because you have the chance of getting a dark core, some new weapons. If you're a new Iron Man, getting some tier 87 weapons. These are fantastic. These are like no BS. These are really strong items, really strong things to get because they help catapult your account from early game to mid game, just even if it's a little bit of quality of life. However, I love the Wilderness Flash events because it gathered people together and it got people to do content together, and it was very cool to just have all of a sudden it would be like a world of like 200 people, like not even a very populated world, and then you just have 50 dudes and girls and just beating up on a dragon, fighting this worm, just doing things together. And I love that. That was my favorite part of doing these events, and there's nothing else that really adds to that. There's nothing else that is replacing that feel, and I'm very sad to see that that will be going away, and I'm hoping, and I'm really hoping that there will be a replacement to that, because I love seeing other fucking players, dude. Like, I genuinely love it, and I'm very sad to see it, but I understand that it's very necessary because it does add a lot of pressure. It breaks up the gameplay a lot, and it's not necessarily the type of reward thing you'd want. And when they get and like when you just nerf something, it's really upsetting. So I think it's just better to just remove it and replace it with something that is not nearly as strong when it comes to item progression and XP, but just something that will bring people together. You know what I mean? Because I love seeing people. It's a big thing. We understand how fun it can be to have some players participating at the same time, and we want to look at opportunities to create or encourage social play like this happening in other content in the future. Wilderness Flash events are a real problem when it comes to time pressure content, XP versus GP output for disproportionate input. Like, literally, you get like 4 hours of experience for like 5 minutes worth of work. We'll be fully removing Wilderness Flash events, and we'll tweak content such as the related mini quests. Items like Dark Onyx Core, Portable Obelisk, and Obelisk Shards will be made available as drops from the Wilderness content. That is actually kind of good for you. Anybody who's doing Wilderness Slayer, this means you could get Dark Onyx Core. I'm going to have a lot of fun hunting for one of those because I definitely need some, and I like trying to like slowly build getting my own items. So I'm going to be excited to hunt for a Dark Onyx Core if it's available through Wilderness Slayer, which I'm hoping it is as part of the Wilderness items that it's going to be included. Again, they're going to be removing the Traveling Merchant, which is kind of brutal as well because the Traveling Merchant is a huge dailyscape offender. There's literally clocks and timers, all types of things that are made to track what the Traveling Merchant has in stock. And the problem with the Traveling Merchant is that it pretty much lets you circumvent a lot of like time-gated other activities, but then this is going to force you to do those time-gated activities as well. It's a little weird. I'm thinking Livid Farm, because you're not going to be able to get Livid Farm points, which is needed for a lot of, needed for Completion Escape. I think it's needed for Trim, and then I think it's also needed for high-end spells that you need. I think, like, what is it, Disruption Shield and Borrowed Power, which you need for higher-end PVM content, and that's going to be kind of brutal to start doing Livid Farm, but I'm actually kind of surprised to see the Traveling Merchant is going away. I think this one was kind of neat. It made it really interesting to see, like, I never, like, had the pressure to go, but I definitely understand a lot of people were going for it. I understand it because I need to have, like, Harmonic Dust, and that was a pretty big offender for going for those. Divine Locations, these things were definitely just, like, trash. You didn't really use them that much. You maybe used them every now and then to get some free XP when you were training things, but definitely was not nearly as important as like other pieces of activity. But people did use them. People did use them for the easy XP of when you would just like pop down a divine location, get a bunch of wood cutting or farm or fishing XP, and then again it would just be the same exact thing of the big time, get it, do it again tomorrow. Just another checklist and chore thing that you want to see. Mini evil tree, same thing. Sinkholes, I am kind of sad about seeing. Sinkholes were again a very fun mini game that I love doing, but again was a huge XP sink when it came to like when I needed to get dungeoneering XP. I would love to see an alternative dungeoneering mini game for this, because that is just, I mean, sinkholes were fun. They were genuinely fun to do, but it's kind of a bummer that they're going away. And now this one was a real sudden axe in the back. Getting rid of the Rune Goldberg machine. For those who don't know what the Rune Goldberg machine is, this is used for Viswax. Viswax is something that is prominently used as a daily moneymaker because they're very expensive to make. It is a really easy, great way to get aura refreshes and a great way to get fast teleports. Probably the most important part, fast teleports. So instead of having to do a 30-second teleport using Viswax, fast teleports were used instead of using you would use Viswax to cut down the 30-second teleport animation down to like 3 seconds. It's a really, really good upgrade and change for that is just used on a regular basis and is very high demand item. Now, the Ruined Goldberg machine that provides that Viswax is going to be removed. We'll be removing the machine and stopping players from gaining Viswax, which are moving these things like daily challenges, divine locations, and the aura overhaul updating this year, which means there's not going to be a need for Viswax when the auras are gone. It's going to be pretty not really going to be needed because Viswax is the only real purpose outside of the quick teleports, right? And that's going to be an important part. So all those things are going to be gone. We'll be keeping the ability to obtain quick teleports. It just won't be from Viswax, which is fantastic. That is a really good alternative because those are pretty important, those quick teleports. I'm actually pretty interested to see what is going to be coming in there. And then they're exploring a bunch of other things. Something I'm very excited to see, I'm hoping to see that comes to light, is the liberation of Mascab, the raid lockout. So it is infamous that there are raids that you can only do every other day. It is probably one of the longest logs in the game, purely because you can only do 2 fucking raids a day. Like, that is insane. That is insane, and you can do it like every 48 hours. Like, who the heck made this? That was so stupid. And so now they're deciding to finally remove this thing. Thank goodness, because dude, I love raids. Raid is one of the most complex, difficult content in the game if you're with a group of idiots, and it is stupid fun, especially when you get a group of buddies that go ahead and knock it out with you. Really love doing raids. It's a fun boss to do, and I'm excited that they're going to get rid of the raids lockout, as well as making it a pretty decent moneymaker, and as well getting those raid armors are going to be a lot better to get now, and they're very, very strong. I'm excited to see that change coming in to fruition. I hope it comes out soon when this does end up getting released. And then there's a bunch of other things. I'll leave the blog down the bottom. I don't know too much about all these as well, but hey, that's pretty sick. These are all scheduled to come out in early March, dude. That is amazing. But hey, those are my thoughts. I think Daily Escape rebalancing these things is fantastic, and yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something new today. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like, leave me a comment, leave what you want to see, all that fun stuff. And if you want to see another video, be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much. Help me get to 10K, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.